सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमु रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। तज्ज्ञानं प्रशमकरं यदिन्द्रियाणां तज्ज्ञेयं यदुपनिषत्सु निश्चितार्थं ते धन्या भुवि परमार्थनिश्चितेहाः शेषास्तु भ्रमनिलये परिभ्रमन्तः। Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji in this text is telling us what is the true meaning of dhanyata. Dhanyata means blessedness. What is the absolute meaning of blessedness? We had seen words of a Mahatma, they are pramanika. Pramanika means they will create knowledge in our mind. The purpose of pramana is to create knowledge. The words of a saint are also pramanika, so they create that knowledge. It is something which will not get contradicted at any point of time. And whatever they are sharing with us, it is doubtless. It's doubtless conviction that they are sharing. And what we get to listen from them is a very unique perspective. One reason is they are speaking in light of Upanishads. When Shankaracharya Ji composes Dhanyashtakam, it is not his own independent composition. That composition is based on Upanishads. That is why the perspective we get from texts like Dhanyashtakam is unique. And the last one is, it is something that they are seeing. It is not hearsay, it is not taken from some other place. Something that they see and then they tell us. Those are the words of a Mahatma. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji here is telling us what is the meaning of dhanyata. We had also seen who are the different types of sadhakas or different types of people on this journey, out of which one person is a sadhaka. First one was pamaraha, second was vishayi, third one was sadhaka, fourth one was siddha. The definition of dhanyata varies for every person. What a pamara thinks is blessedness will be a very painful thing for a sadhaka. Pamara means one who doesn't care about rules, doesn't care about do's and don'ts, just wants vishayas. So somebody like Bharatji, if he is in Swarga, that is a great source of sorrow for him. Because his mind is in Bhagavan, none of those vishayas are giving him joy. But another person reaching the same Swarga, he might say, Dhanyosmi, I am blessed. So our mindset has to evolve, mindset has to mature. And that is the true progress in our journey. What we thought as blessedness at one stage, and what are we thinking blessedness to be later on in life. So Ishavasya mantra said, either we should hold on to the first mantra, Ishavasya medagam sarvam, yatkincha jagatyam jagat, tena tyaktena bhunjitaha, magruda kasya sudhanam. Looking upon whole creation as an appearance in consciousness, that Isha pervades this whole universe. Isha is real, universe is an appearance. Rope is real, snake is an appearance. In that way, if we understand, that is one understanding. Second understanding was mantra number 2, Kurvanneveha karmani. Doing karma alone, living a devoted life, one should strive to evolve. What happens to those who don't do either of them? Neither jnana nishtha nor karma nishtha. That was the third mantra. Asurya namate lokaha andhena tamasavrutaha. They end up in those destinations where the ability for Brahmajnanam to take place is very limited. Andhena tamasavruta means the opportunities for knowledge is limited. What is the meaning of andhena tamasavruta? Sthavarantan. Those life forms which are sthavara, where there is no degrees of freedom available, those life forms this jiva goes to. Asurya namate lokaha andhena tamasavrutaha tamste pretyapi gachanti yeke chatmahano janaha. Slayers of the self means this Atma Tattva was available to us, but that person chose to be asleep towards that Atma Tattva, to be asleep towards one's own higher nature. So the one who is able to appreciate that my goal of life has to be either mantra number 1 or mantra number 2, they are dhanya. Mantra number 1, if we get it, that is the best. Even if that is not available, then karma nishtha. But definitely not neither of both. So here Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji gave a very precise definition of jnanam. He said, Tad jnanam prashamakaram yadindriyanam. What is knowledge? He said, knowledge is that which quietens our mind and sense organs. Here is pointing out what is the result of knowledge also. One effort to quieten the mind is our purushartha related effort. We try to show limitations. That will also come next stage. Next verse it will come. But here he is saying, if knowledge has taken place, natural result of that knowledge is mind should quieten down. It should not go out. Or even if it goes out, it should not go out to seek joy. It is just like when we see the silver in the shell. Once knowledge of shell has taken place, we don't have to put forth effort to pull the mind back from that illusory silver. If clarity of knowledge is there, that this is not silver but this is shell, result of that knowledge is person will not run to pick up that silver. Like that in Vedanta also, if we say we have understood Vedanta, the litmus test of that is, for joy this person doesn't go outside. Tad jnanam prashamakaram yadindriyanam. One who has understood Atma is Ananda Swarupa and Jagat as an appearance. One Mahatma Ji, he says, a bee makes sound until it sits on the flower. Bee will make the buzzing sound until it has actually sat on the flower. Once it sits on the flower, it becomes quiet. Like that, this mind craves for Vishaya until it has known nature of self. Once it has known the nature of self and tasted some bliss, that mind will not go outside. There is one more point over here. Sometimes we say in Vedanta, you are Brahman. You are Brahman means our essential nature is Ananda Swarupa. We don't have to seek Ananda anywhere. But what happens is, from strong Vishayananda, from having this conviction that sense objects alone give us joy, to directly jump to Brahmananda is a very big leap. It might look almost impossible. Or we might hear that such a thing is possible, such a thing is there, but not for me. That is why Bhagavan Krishna in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, learn to taste the bliss of meditation. He tells Arjuna, "O Arjuna, if you are meditating, take your meditation to such a point that you actually feel bliss in meditation." Bliss is your own nature, no doubt. But even if I am able to taste the reflected bliss in a calm and a peaceful mind, that joy will free me from Vishayananda, joy coming from sense objects. Now, either it is meditation or any sadhana. It might be japa, it might be a short prayer, chanting of stotram. If mind has to become quiet from Vishayas, the first step what is needed is, I have to start getting joy from my own mind. This Bhagavan Krishna calls it as Satwik Sukham. Satwik Sukham, 18th chapter. Abhyasat ramate tatra. Abhyasat means one practice he has chosen and he has done it every day. He has repeated it over time. And because mind quietens down with such a practice, he is able to taste the bliss of the self reflected in that mind. Then only we can see this first line. Tadjnanam prashamakaram yadindriyanam. Nature of Atma is Ananda Swarupa, Akarta, Abhokta. Abiding in the self also, his mind becomes quietened. What is the object of knowledge? Tadneyam yad Upanishad sunishchitartham. Whatever is said in Upanishads, which is Mahavakya, that clarity he has, and he has understood how upadhis are mithya. All different conditionings that he was able to negate. Bhagavan Krishna in 6th chapter calls this as Jnana Vijnana Truptatma. Means whatever he has studied, he is able to apply it in his life. And in applying of this Vedanta, he gets joy. Application of Vedanta, he gets joy. And with that joy, he is content. Jnana Vijnana Truptatma. So this is his Neyam. Neyam means what has to be known. Tadneyam yadupanishad sunishchitartham. Te dhanyaha bhuvi paramartha nishchiteha. Those people are blessed who have their transactions in this world in light of that knowledge. This is referring to Jivan Muktas. Those who are able to abide in this knowledge and then transact. But even if somebody keeps this as their goal, self-abidance as their goal, and then transacts, they are also blessed. Sometimes we have this question, why are we here? Why are we sent into this world? It is said, just like we need a hospital to cure disease of physical body, We need another place to cure the disease of mind. That is the purpose of this world, where whatever limitations of the mind one might have, whatever limitations might be there, those are cleansed through Karma Yoga. The one who has this bhavana, this attitude, one who feels grateful for the ability to serve, Bhagavan says they are blessed because they have found a goal in life and all their efforts are towards that goal. If we miss this point, then that same iha, same action will bind us. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the background of Chatushloki Bhagavatam is Brahmaji going to Bhagavan Vishnu and expressing his fear. He says, Bhagavan, I am grateful that you chose me for a great task. You made me the creator, Brahmaji. So many things I'll have to do. But one of the things I've noticed is, whenever we get more responsibility, along with that, doership also increases. And whenever you do more work, more people will praise. He says, what will happen to me? One of the first challenges, my doership will be so strong that I am the creator of this whole universe. Whatever anybody has got, I only have given. And people will come and do stuti because I am creator. And with that, my abhimana will go up. As an answer to this, Bhagavan gives 4 verses called as Chatushloki Bhagavatam. He says, you don't worry, the one who is running this show is me. The one who has given you the material to create, that is me. And then he says, either understand it in this standpoint, from this standpoint, that Bhagavan is the main karta. I am only taking his material, giving it a name and form and sending it down. Either look at it that way. Or second way to look at it is, there is no real creation. How proud do we get of dream world? Whatever we created, he says how proudly we can say, I created my dream world. That is the second perspective. Bhagavan Vishnu tells Brahmaji, either understand mithyatva. Pride will not be there, doership will not be there, praise will not bind you. Or understand it from Bhagavan's power standpoint. That he alone is giving everything. Even the inspiration from inside comes from the Lord. Because he is only Antaryami. The one who has to make everything fall in place, that is the Lord. From that standpoint also, give up your abhimana. Those who work in this way, they are blessed. Te dhanyaha bhuvi paramartha nishchitehaha sheshastu brahmanilaye paribhramantaha. What about others? This is, others are roaming around in this brahmanilaya. They feel like they are going somewhere, but they are not going anywhere. It is just like, there is a boat tied to a peg and it is dark. One person is sitting inside wanting to cross the river. Very vigorously he is rowing the boat. And that boat, because it is in that water, it goes up and down. So he feels he is moving. And morning he is, ready to get down, go to see it. He is on the same shore. Because that rope is tied to the peg, the boat is still there. Sometimes our journey becomes like that. We feel we are doing a lot of work. But if you forget Bhagavan, if you forget the main goal of life, we might feel we are going somewhere, but according to Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji, we are going in that maze. Sheshastu brahmanilaye paribhramantaha. Whatever work we are doing, the question we should ask is, why am I doing it? Not what am I doing? Huh? What am I doing? All of us will have different answer. Wherever Bhagwan has placed us, each person will have a specific role, unique role. But Bhakta asks this question, devotee asks this question, Sadhaka asks this question, why am I doing this? Now Bhagwan says, more answers to this question we will find in the second verse. Why did great people, with what attitude great people did their work? How are they able to reach where they are? What we are seeing them today is just the end result. Possible that it's a perfected end result. But we should remember, they also have gone through a journey. And what is that journey? Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji gives in second verse. Where did they start? How did they go forward? So this is, you can say, steps to Dhanyata. What are the steps to blessedness? That is given in the second verse. Adau vijitya vishayan. Adau vijitya vishayan. Mada Moha Raga. Mada Moha Raga. Dvesha Dveshatruganam Ahrutayogaraज्याः ज्ञात्वा मतं samanubhuya paratma-vidya samanubhuya paratma-vidya kanta sukham vanagruhe vicharanti dhanyah Can we chant the full line? You can repeat. Adau vijitya vishayan madamoharaga Dveshadishatruganamahritayogaraज्याः 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 Jnatva matam samanubhuya paratma-vidya Kanta sukham vanagruhe vicharanti dhanyah Kanta sukham vanagruhe vicharanti dhanyah. This person has conquered all his enemies just like a king, and he has established his throne in his kingdom, and he is happily roaming around in his kingdom. So in this verse, metaphor of a king is given. But Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji in Vivek Chudamani, he says, if there is a king, merely by saying I am a king, he doesn't become a king. Akrutva shatru samharam. Shatru samharam akrutva. Without conquering his enemies. Agatva khila bhushriyam. Without getting the land needed for his kingdom. Means he is always infested with enemies. Always land is being snatched away from him. He said, what kind of king is he? Akrutva shatru samharam agatva khila bhushriyam rajaham iti shabdanno. Just by saying I am a king, he says Raja bhavitum arhati. Just by saying I am a king, one does not become a king. Like that he says, for a seeker of truth, akrutva drushya vilayam. Without understanding jagat as mithya. Akrutva drushya vilayam ajñatva tattvam atmanah. Without knowing Brahman as the main substratum, that which is the only reality. Brahma shabdair kuto mukti. Just by repeating I am Brahma, this is very moksha. Ukti matra phalair nunam. The only result is we'll have lot of words, but not moksha. Ukti matra phalair nunam. So just like that king has to conquer his enemies, get his land back, then only he can be called a king. Like that he says, a seeker has to conquer inner enemies, do drushya vilaya, dissolve the world, and understand Atma as the substratum, then only there is moksha. So the first step on this journey, Bhagavan says, Adav vijitya vishayan. Adav means first and foremost. Right in the beginning, what he did was put forth lot of effort to win over sense object. Now, how did he win over sense object? His sense object is outside. We don't have to go and win over it. The problem is, it enters our mind and preoccupies the mind. So this person was able to remove the sense objects and over importance given to sense objects. He didn't have to do anything outside. In his own mind, whatever things he was dependent upon, he freed himself from that dependence. Sometimes children play this game, 5 things to survive on an island. They'll ask you, what are the 5 things? If you were to go on an island, what are the 5 things you would take? It's one of icebreaker, in a camp they do generally. What happens to that is, what are your interests? Means island means only 5 things you can take. So if you say, I will take Bhagavad Gita, I will take Japamala. So that way you know what this person values. So we should ask ourselves, what are the top 5 things which are very important? And out of those things, we should see which one is a need, which one is a want. Because each person will have different things they are dependent upon. That's why Bhagavan doesn't clarify what all things we should free ourselves from. He says just we have to introspect and then see what can I live without also. And then in other places, Bhagavan gives more details, more perspectives of how to actually free ourselves from Vishayas. First of all, he says, this desire to free ourselves from Vishaya should come from within. Others might tell us, we might hear somewhere, but unless we feel we are bound, nobody can help us. It is just like a teenager going to university. Now parents might tell so many things, do this, don't do this, but unless the child himself feels that I should not do it, external pressure doesn't help much. Like that here also, this sadhaka has himself realized, what am I doing? How many things have hijacked my mind and it is controlling my mind? So much of dependence, this is once that thought comes, he can do something about it. These Vishayas, these strong preferences towards objects, Ramakrishna Paramahansa says, it is like dirt on a needle. Our mind is like that needle, and the sense objects, the fascination from them, it is like the dirt. God is like a magnet, ever waiting to pull our mind. But these things which are there on top of the magnet don't allow it to be pulled. Means whatever we have known about nature of self or nature of God, one of the first things which holds us back, that is this Vishaya. Bhagwan's nature is such that he pulls. But if we have held on to Vishayas, it is that pull is not that powerful for us, or we feel it is not that powerful. So the first step given here is one should win over sense objects. Winning over is not external victory, but in our mind we have to remove the importance we give to those objects. Shobhana buddhi, thinking that this is very good. That one has to remove. Second perspective given in our scriptures to accomplish this, how to win over sense objects. First one, they said we have to feel the need. Then only anything works. Anything can work. Second is, whatever bothering sense objects are there, whichever area we know is our weakness, there they tell us stay away from those objects. Don't think that in the midst of those objects, I'll still win over them. That's why many of these rehab programs, when they do for any addictions, one of the major thing is how to keep them away from those things they were addicted to. At the same time, substitute with something positive, substitute with an alternative. Like that for us also, our mind, wherever it has taste, and we know that it is against our spiritual evolution, stay away from those objects. Who says this? Bhagavan Krishna. Vishayaha vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Whatever thing we let go of, that thing lets go of us. Vishayaha vinivartante niraharasya. What did this sadhaka do? He fasted, became nirahara. Nirahara from what? Nirahara from that Vishaya. And that Vishaya, which he stayed away from, slowly went away from him. But Bhagavan wants us, don't celebrate too early. You stayed away from something, you felt that you have conquered it. He says, rasa will still remain, taste will still be there. Whenever that thing comes again, same vasanas will get kindled. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. That rasa will come only when our knowledge becomes perfected knowledge. When our devotion becomes ripened devotion, then that deep-rooted rasa also will go away. But the main sadhana there is looking at our life, analyzing our life carefully, and finding out which are those things which we are overly dependent upon. And this exercise we have to do for ourselves. Nobody else can help us. Third perspective given for Vishaya is knowing the consequences of the Vishayas. Knowing the consequences of being dependent upon that Vishaya. Once that hits a person, very quickly he can come out of it. Puja Guruji, in his commentary, he says, sometimes for objects we can understand, right? Like, he says, if somebody is going to drink a glass of milk, even a child says, there is some poison in it. Or I saw something fall in it. He might just have said jokingly. Still, this person will not drink it. Because in his mind, this clarity is there. The consequence of drinking is something terrible. Now he says, apply this to all our thoughts. Anger, greed, jealousy, lust, all those things which are there. If consequence becomes clear, this is just like we dropped that glass of milk, like that we will drop all these negativities. Because in our mind sometimes, in part we see the consequence, in part we feel these thoughts are good. Anger, for example, in part we know whenever anger has come, it has burnt us within. So many consequences have been there, outside and inside, both. But in part, we still feel, or we might feel, without getting angry, nothing works. So there is a conflict inside. On one hand, we are trying to overcome it. On the other hand, we are trying to justify it. So the defect in that Vishaya, defect in that object, should be known 100%. Then only letting go of that Vishaya is possible. With food items, it is easier to apply this. If somebody has some health problem and they've understood the limitations of a particular food item, last time you had it, what was the consequence? They remember. And second time, even if everybody is having it, they'll stay away. Because consequence is clear. They have seen others go through those consequences. Like that, for every Vishaya, this sadhaka introspects what is the consequence. When mind is calm, he has done this analysis. And more or less, our days are the same. Whatever situations came today, same situation will come tomorrow. Second time that situation comes, he responds differently. That is his ability to overcome Vishayas. And majority of our time in the spiritual pursuit will go in this only. Verse number 2. To understand Upanishad, to understand Mahavakya, that's a very small portion. To get clarity and abidance, yes, it will take time. But to prepare ourselves, that also is going to take time. It's an important project. That is the main point here. Okay, Adav Vijitya Vishayan, that is the first thing. Then second thing is Mada. What are the other things he has conquered? So from Mada to Yoga Rajyaha is one sentence. Mada Moha Raga Dveshadi Shatruganam Ahruta Yoga Rajyaha. This person is somebody who has conquered Mada. Mada means pride. Moha. Moha means delusion. Delusion he has conquered. Raga Dvesha, likes and dislikes he has conquered. Raga Dvesha, and he has understood these are my Shatru. These are my Shatru. Ahruta Yoga Raja, having conquered his inner enemies, now he is ready to welcome Brahma Vidya. Every point, how to conquer them in different places, different elaboration is given. Just like for Vishayas, we saw in Bhagavad Gita, there was perspective. Stay away from Vishayas. That is one perspective Bhagavan gives. Like that for Moha, or the first one is Mada. Mada means pride. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, one should win over Mada through Upasana. This person starts feeling pride only when his attention is on himself. Whenever he sees Bhagavan as totality, Bhagavan as somebody big, and he as somebody small in front of the Lord, that is when his abhimana goes down. Puja Guruji has composed a text, Manashodhanam, that is based on a few verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. So there, for every limitation, every shortcoming, one antidote is given. So if desire is the problem, kama is the problem, it says win over kama through asankalpa. Don't make resolves. Whenever we make resolves, think if this happens, that will be good. If that happens, it will be good. Then desire becomes stronger. First it comes as sankalpa. That sankalpa becomes kama. So if I want to win over kama, it says pay attention to sankalpa. Don't make wrong sankalpas. And if kama is gone, Srimad Bhagavatam says, anger will go away. if we don't have strong preferences, strong insistence, strong opinions, this is what will be removed from our life is anger. Krodam, Krodaha, Kama Vivarjanat. If Kama is removed, anger is also removed. How to remove Kama? By removing Sankalpa. How to win over Lobha, greed? This is look at those who have those objects and see the futility of having it. Anarthakyat. Anarthakya means futility of having those objects which we are having desire for. It might be power, position. Look at those who have had that power and position and see where life has taken them. Then this person starts thinking, is it even worth striving for that thing? Investing all my time and resources for that power and position? This is like that, let go of Lobha. How to let go of Moha? That is the next one. This is let go of Moha through thorough study. Anvikshikya. Anvikshikya means thorough analysis. Whatever we have heard, whatever we have understood, trying to apply and see the reality of those things. Anvikshikya Shoka Moha. And Madam Mahadupasaya. One should win over Mada through Upasana. Bhagavan, when he takes avatar, he does lot of leelas. Leelas are to quieten our mind. Whenever you think about leelas of Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Rama, Bhagavan Shiva, those leelas will put our mind to sleep. Leenam, that is the purpose of leela. Charitra of the Lord is to emulate. Charitra of the Lord is to emulate. When I am faced with similar situation, what I should do? Charitra means conduct. Leela is not for emulation. Conduct is for emulation. But it is said, if we consider Bhagavan as a person, if we consider Bhagavan as another ordinary person, our mother will never go away. Because now he has become equal. We need some altar in front of whom we can become small. I mean, this Abhimana has to become small in front of Samashti. So therefore our Mahatmas, they tell us, with Bhagavan, don't look upon him as another person. If you want to learn from him, Charitra is there, learn from him. If you want to absorb your mind in him, Leelas are there, absorb the mind through Leelas. But Bhagavan is always Samashti, Jiva is always Vyashti. If Jiva says, holding on to this Upadhi, I will not bow down to Samashti. Vedanta Sar example, the drop says, holding on to my dropness, I don't want to merge with ocean. That drop will be evaporated in no time. So the Srimad Bhagavatam verse is very powerful. How to win over pride? First of all, we should feel that this pride is my enemy. Sometimes what happens is, enemy we feel to be our friend. This Abhimana, which is our enemy, we feel what is wrong. But when it comes to the spiritual path, the same Abhimana will stop us from owning our infinitude. So therefore, the advice given is, do Upasana in such a way that you become small in front of the Lord. बच्चे रहोगे तो बचे रहोगे. If you are a child in front of the Lord, we will be saved. Just like any child, the moment child grows up and says, I don't want to hold your hand, nobody feels like holding also. But the one who is seeking help, 10 people will come to help. In that way, this sadhaka seeks help from the Lord. Madam Mahadupasaya. Then comes Raga Dvesha, likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes, this point you have seen in second chapter also. Nobody can say, I have no preferences. I like all kinds of color, all kinds of music, all kinds of food, all kinds of people. You see, nobody can be stage as far as transaction is concerned. Some preferences will be there. What kind of music do you like? You will say, I like Hindustani, or I like Carnatic, or jazz, or pop, whatever. Different genres are there. Some preference is there. When it comes to colors, some colors you might like, some colors you might not like. Objects might be there, some preferences. But whenever those preferences push us to such a point that we cannot live without it, then that preference has become raga. Whenever that preference has taken us to a point where we cannot accommodate any other thing, that thing has become raga. If I like a particular music, it's good. But if I say, I will not allow anybody to listen any other music, that is raga. With people also, we might have some preferences. That's why we say this person is my friend, this is my relative, and this we say is my best friend. But if that friendship or love pushes that person to do adharma, pushes that person to do partiality, that is called as dvesha. Merely having preferences is not raga dvesha. But when those preferences start showing results, that is called as raga and dvesha. Every father will love the child, love his son. There is nothing wrong in parent loving a child. But if that love forces a person to be partial towards others, that has become raga. Best example is Dashrath Maharaj, Bhagavan Ramchandra Ji. Dashrath Maharaj loved Bhagavan so much so that he was ready to give up his prana for him. But when he was supposed to be coronated as the king, he asks everybody that he is my son. It's possible that I'm not seeing certain shortcomings. Before making him the king, if you all agree with my decision, then I will make him the king. This is one example. Second is Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. There also father loves the son, but loves him in such a way that is willing to snatch everything from others. That is called as dvesha. Dashrath Maharaj, that you won't call it as raga, that is prema. Love is there, but it doesn't overpower his viveka. And whenever something has to be accomplished, he will choose based on dharma, not because he is my son. Whoever is the right person, that person should get this role. Not only those with whom I have raga. If that happens, he says we are progressing spiritually. We might have preferences. Preferences are not put down here. But those preferences should not interfere in our duty. Raga Dvesha is a very deep topic. If he likes and dislikes. Likes and dislike also, it has to be practical. If somebody says, don't have any preferences, is how will that person live? And you won't find anybody who will say, everything and anything is okay. As a person, they might have preferences. But when it comes to their duty, discharging their duty, those preferences don't interfere. So either at work, at home, wherever it is, We'll always have few people with whom we can get along, and few people who are little difficult to get along. But when it comes to work per se, he removes this notion of who is my friend and who is not such a good friend. Whatever the role demands, according to that, he is able to give the responsibility. Like that, he has conquered Raga and Dvesha. Likes and dislikes have been conquered. This point Bhagavan elaborates in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says, Arjuna, you have been placed in a position because of some reason. Whatever the duty demands, that one has to do. Whether I like it or not, he says that is not your choice. Whether I like to do it or I don't like to do it, he says Raga Dvesha should not become the prompter. If that becomes the prompter, then our mind is getting stronger and stronger, getting more and more stubborn. Whatever it likes, it will do. Whatever it doesn't like, it will not do. So whatever duties we have been assigned, spiritual duties also. If a person has decided, I have to meditate for 10 minutes. He says, you don't have a choice whether you like it or not. If you have decided it is your duty, just do it. So his inspiration is kartavya, duty, not raga dvesha. One person might be there, his motivation is, if I like, I will do. If I don't like, I will stay away. But this person is, whether I like it or not, because it is my duty, I will do it. Now this duty, he can sweeten it also and say, to please my Bhagavan, I am doing it. As my offering to the Lord, I am doing this. He doesn't even look at it as a duty. Whatever things gopis did throughout their day, they didn't do it out of sense of duty also. They did it to please the Lord. Hanumanji's role in, or Hanumanji's actions in Sundarkand, did he do it because he was messenger of Bhagavan Rama? Did he do it as his duty to the Lord or love for the Lord? He did it as love for Bhagavan. What did he get? He says Raga Dveshas will be removed from that person's life. He has trained his mind to go beyond likes and dislikes. Raga Dveshadi Shatruganam Ahruta Yoga Rajya. He has conquered these enemies starting from pride. He said there is nothing to be proud of. Everything is Bhagavan's grace. All the way until Raga Dvesha, these Shatrus he has conquered. Now once enemies have been removed, destructive forces have been removed, now he can do something productive. So in that mind which has been removed from Raga Dvesha, he can actually bring Brahma Vidya. Otherwise, majority of the time is gone in fighting with enemies only. Sometimes this enemy attacks, sometimes that enemy, and all of them are staying inside the kingdom. What productive work this king can do? Now since the enemies have been removed, now he is bringing self-knowledge. Jnatva matam. Having known the truth, not only known, but very well internalized. Some anubhuya. Anubhuya doesn't mean experienced. Understanding that it is because of that truth alone, every experience is possible. He doesn't make Brahman as another object of experience. Whenever Anubhuti comes in Vedanta, we should appreciate this point. We are not seeking Anubhuti of Atma. There is one composition by Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji called as Aparoksha Anubhuti. Aparoksha. Sometimes people think, okay, now I have understood God as somebody else. Now I will understand Him as Aparoksha. I will get experience of God as Aparoksha. But the way Bhagavan opens it up is understanding that Atma is ever Aparoksha. That consciousness is the one because of which every experience is possible. How can I experience that consciousness? The one who has understood in this way, samyak anubhuya, his conviction about the truth is very strong. No doubts and no erroneous notions. Samanubhuya paratma vidya. This matam he has understood. The second line. Kanta sukham vanagruhe vicharanti dhanya. He is roaming around in his own home, vanagruhe, forest like home. But in that forest, he also has company. His wife is there. Who is his wife? He says Paramatma Vidya Kanta. Brahma Vidya is his wife. And with that knowledge, he is reveling and roaming around in that home. You know why this example is given? Brahma Vidya as his wife. One reason is to show that this is not a dry life. This is not a very insipid, dry journey. There is a lot of joy in reveling in Brahma Vidya. There is a lot of joy in understanding Brahma Vidya, trying to appreciate what is being said and how does it apply. That's why he says Kanta Sukham. Just like in family there is joy with each other's company, like that this person is getting joy with the company of Shastra, company of Brahma Vidya. Another reason is, one of the purpose you say or uniqueness of family is, whatever we have gone through the day, we can always share with family. In Kathopanishad this is called as Parivara Sukham. Parivara Sukham means we can discuss, we can share. And that sharing alone makes you lighter. Whatever has happened throughout the day, just share with somebody else. That will make us lighter. And sometimes if you are lucky, we'll get some perspectives also. How to look at it differently. Like that this person does with Shastra. Whatever Parivara Sukham comes through people, the same Sukham he is getting by asking those questions, sharing those things with scriptures. Means for him, his guidance is coming from Shastra, Brahma Vidya. What he should do, what he should not do. Those who have traveled this journey, those people are blessed. Started with winning over Vishayas, went all the way until reveling in Brahma Vidya. One thing to note here is, one word is there, right? Jnatva matam. Does it ring a bell where we saw this word matam? Kenopanishad. Pratibodha viditam matam. Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji in Bhashya he wrote there, matam means one who has understood the truth in this way. In what way? Pratibodha viditam. That this self is available as the witness of every thought. Means he doesn't get confused. Where should I seek Brahman? Where should I search for God? He knows precisely where he is available. Right as Sakshi, as witness of thought, he is available. And once he shifts attention to Sakshi, there Bhagavan said he understands Sakshi is nirvikara, changeless, and it is eternal. The Mahima of Sakshi also he knows, the glory of Sakshi also he understands. The one who does it, that person is blessed. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri